So I'm going to take you through briefly what I'm going to talk about. So there's the introductions about holiday extras and myself. I'm going to go briefly through some of the perks of using HTML5 and how we can use it to leverage great apps. Then I'll talk a little bit about Node.js and how we've used it at Holiday Extras. And then we'll get to the exciting bit, the demo. I'll take you through building a really simple app that connects to the AMI using the module that I've open sourced. So who am I? I'm primarily a senior web developer, and I've been in the web industry for around 4 years now. I've been working with Asterisk for around 2 in total, and I'm the author and maintainer of the Asterisk AMI module on NPM. NPM is the Node Package Manager. So I work for a company called Holiday Extras. Does anyone know what we do? Yes? I'm glad. So we're like Rontil. Do you guys have Rontil out in the US? No? So pretty much they do DIY products, but their products say exactly what they do on the tin. We do exactly that. We sell extras for holidays, vacations in the US. Yeah, we don't do extras for Christmas and Thanksgiving. We sell airport parking, hotels, lounges as our core business, but we also sell travel insurance and railway tickets to the airport as well. We work with some of the biggest names in the UK travel industry, including EasyJet, British Airways. We partner up with an awful lot of travel agents as well, like Thomas Cook. And then we've also got a secondary part to our business. We provide short break stays at London theatres and theme parks, one of them being Legoland, Alton Towers. There's quite a few others as well. So we're based in the UK, and we believe holidays should be hassle-free. We're a 29-year-old startup. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? How can you be a 29-year-old startup? It's the pace we move at, our methodologies that we work with. So we try something new. If it doesn't work, then we just scrap it and move on to the next thing. We are the market leaders in the UK, and our contact centre took over 800,000 calls last year, operating with around 100 staff. We've been using Asterisk in production since around April. It took us around a year with a few peaks and troughs to move from our 25-year-old Avaya index system. That was fun. Come and talk to me afterwards if you're migrating. There's lots of lessons to be learnt. But since moving to Asterisk, we've taken around 516,000 calls on our VoIP platform. And we'll be hopefully moving Asterisk to our Germany offices soon as well. But I guess you're all saying, get on with it, I don't care about your company. So what about the fun stuff? HTML5, NodeJS and Asterisk. So what's so great about HTML5? I'm guessing you all know what HTML5 is. Yeah? So there's no need for extra plugins nowadays. The latest web browsers, you don't need to have Flash or Java. You can start doing some really cool things directly within the browser. It takes less time to launch an app now, most of the time, using HTML5. And of those apps that you launch, you can make just as full of features as you would a native app. There's millions of web developers out there. So generally, it's faster to iterate your app as well. The web is very real-time, whereas developing and deploying a native app just takes longer. And an amazing statistic, over 60% of people that are internet-enabled have a browser that's somehow allowing HTML5. I'm guessing everyone here in the room has a browser in their pocket, probably. So HTML5 is ever growing. There's been some real improvements in the past few weeks alone. When you compare some of the features of HTML5 to native apps, you start asking what's really the difference between a native app now and a browser. There's actually very little now if you spend the time doing it. So you've got web workers, databases, caches, access to media like webcams, and real-time communication using WebSockets. Asterisk 11 has WebRTC support for SIP, meaning you can now have a fully featured SIP browser, SIP phone in your browser. This is the key to what we're going to do today. Two-way real-time communication between the browser and Asterisk using the AMI. This can't be done easily without the help of Node.js. So, does anyone know what Node.js is? What's Node.js? Yeah, so it's JavaScript in the server, essentially. Yes, well, yeah, you can use Node for web servers. You can use it for an awful lot of other things as well. It's a great prototyping tool. So I've taken this directly from the Node.js website, and I think it explains exactly why we used it with VoIP. Node.js uses an event-driven, non-blocking I/O model that makes it lightweight and efficient, perfect for data-intensive, real-time applications that run across distributed devices. With VoIP, if you don't deal with your data there and then, it becomes useless. You've got to deal with it when it happens. So Node is single-threaded, and you can only do one thing at one time. With VoIP, you need to act on it there and then, so it's a great match. So what have we done with it? We've placed the call directly within our custom CRM system. The contact center agents now have everything within their browser, almost, leaving them to give the most hassle-free experience for our customer. Node.js allowed us to move fast and react quickly to new situations, so much so that we're now on our third iteration of the system. We've made our system more stable over the course of the past few months, and we're now in a pretty good place where I don't have to touch it at all. Last time we restarted the server was 95 days ago, and I haven't touched it since. And I think that restart was just because of some network issues. It just sorts itself out. But there's so much more that we can do at Holiday Extras. So how does it all fit together? Well, you've got your Asterisk server. Oh, you can't really see it very well on the screen, but you've got your Asterisk server, you've got your Node.js server. They're going to talk to one another over the AMI. Asterisk is going to talk to your soft phone or your hard phone over SIP, and the Node.js server is going to talk to your browser via WebSockets. So let's take a look at the demo. So I'm presuming you've already got Node installed. It's really simple to do now. You just go to nodejs.org and download it for your OS. It's available for Windows, Macs, and Linux. Next, you need to install the Asterisk AMI module from NPM. NPM comes with Node now, so you don't have to worry about that either. So go to the command line, cd into your chosen directory for your project, and type npm install Asterisk AMI. So it's as simple as that. That then goes and gets the package from GitHub or wherever the source code is. So let's take a look at creating a basic Node.js server that uses the Asterisk AMI module to talk to Asterisk. So before I go through the demo, let's take a look at how simple the code is. So at the top there, you're requiring Asterisk AMI. Then you're instantiating it with a load of parameters. So you give it the host and the username and the password for the AMI connection. Then you set up an event listener. So the Asterisk AMI module emits an event called AMI_data, and it gives you that data. So the AMI module takes care of parsing the AMI for you, and it just gives you back a nice JavaScript object. This example logs it out to the console. So it logs out AMI data and then gives you the data in a string. Then we've got a connect event. Well, it's not really an event. You've got a connect function. So we're connecting, and we're giving it a callback. On that callback happens when it's finally connected. So we're logging out to the console, connected to the AMI, and then we're setting up an interval to send a ping request every 2 seconds. So what's going to happen is we're setting up our listener, and then we're connecting, and then we're saying, right, every 2 seconds, send this ping. The listener's then going to get a pong, 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 pong every 2 seconds. Then the bottom bit's just dealing with when we close down the server to disconnect from the AMI and then close itself. So let's take a look at that running. So running your server is as simple as node and then your file. Can everyone see that? Yeah? So you can see we're connected to the AMI, and then we're getting back data. So you can see we got back and if I make that full screen, you can see that we got back a fully booted, and then we're getting a pong, pong, pong response. I've got a phone registered to it, so it's saying here's a peer status. And you're just going to get every single event that Asterisk is chucking out via the AMI. And each one of these is a JavaScript object within Node, so you can directly access it. So let's close down that. So you can see, what's that, 20 lines of code. You're talking to Asterisk, and you can deal with the data that's coming back. It's really simple. So it's simple, but pretty boring. The talk's about HTML5 and using that to leverage great apps. So let's output all those console logs to a web page. So as someone said earlier, making a web server in Node it's what an awful lot of people are doing with it. Node has so many great modules out there, and it's really easy to leverage WebSockets. I'm using a module called NodeJS, which uses Socket.io underneath it. So if we go through this example, we've still got our Asterisk AMI module. We're requiring Node's file system. That's a core module. We're requiring Express. Express is a web server module. And then we're requiring the core HTTP module as well. You can see that line's exactly the same, instantiating the AMI. We're instantiating Express. We're making that listen on localhost 8080. And then we set up Express. So we tell it everything that's within assets, just serve up as static assets. Then we're setting up a path. So everything that goes in on localhost 8080, we're saying, well, go and read webpage.html and serve that up. Then we're setting up Node.js. Node.js is the key to WebSockets in this example. You tell Node.js to bond to the Express server, and then the bit underneath it is exactly the same. We're taking the AMI underscore data event that gets emitted, but instead of console.logging it, we're saying, well, if there's a function on the browser, Node.js allows you to share functions between the browser and the server. It's pretty cool. So echo asterisk data is actually a function on the client, and we're calling it directly from the server. So this is one of the cool things about WebSockets. So we're saying, if echo asterisk data exists, call that with the data that came back. If we then take a look, so this is exactly the same. Exactly the same. So this is webpage.html. Obviously, there's a load of HTML that goes along with it, but this is the JavaScript that deals with what we've just outputted from the server. So we're requiring now.js, the client library, and then we're then making a function called output. So var output, and then it's saying get everything that's within a div and append the data that's just come in to that div. So we should essentially see lots of information being added into an element within the HTML. Now.echo asterisk data, so that's adding echo asterisk data function to the now object so that it's available between the client and the server. And then now.ready is just saying, we're ready now. Let's output to that div and say connected now via Node.js. So if we take a look at that, so exactly the same, node server.js, and then you can see at the bottom there, we're listening on localhost 8080, and we're connected to the AMI. It doesn't give us all those console.logs that we just had. So now, if we refresh this browser, you can see we were connected via Node.js, and now we've got a response of pong, 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 pong. I'd expect to now start seeing some peer status stuff. There you go, peer status. So that's my soft phone registered. I'm a bit worried because there should be 2 there, which is going to mess up my demo in a minute. But now we're connected via WebSockets. So that's the most basic example of connecting Asterisk to your browser with very little code at all. So if we stop that running, so you see that stopped getting anything from the server now. So that's cool, but doesn't really do anything, does it? It's not really two-way. We're just sending down these events to the browser. So let's step it up a notch. From a web page, via WebSockets, let's get Bria, a soft phone, talking to another soft phone. I'm not going to answer the call because then I'll get horrendous feedback, but you'll see it happening. So on the server, everything remains the same, except for, 4 lines. So now we've added send data to asterisk function to the now object. And that means that the client can now call send data to asterisk, which then, with some data, which then passes that data to AMI.send. AMI.send is sending it to asterisk via the AMI. It's as simple as that. Obviously, in production, you'd want to put some more checks around that. You wouldn't just want anyone with access to your client to be able to send whatever they wanted to the server, to your asterisk server. You'd want to put some authentication and say, well, this person's only allowed to do this. But for sake of argument, that's as simple as it can be. And then webpage.html stays exactly the same. Apart from now, I've added in a load of buttons as HTML. And then using JavaScript, jQuery, I've said on a click event, on a class of button, do these things. So on a click event, get the event, find out what class the button has, and do something based on that. So you can see if the button has a class of help, then we want to send list commands via the AMI. If the button's got reload, then we want to send a reload action. If it's login, then I'm going to add extension SIP 2000, SIP extension 2000 to Q10 with a penalty of 1 and in a paused state. Then we've got a button to unpause. So we're saying interface SIP 2000 in Q10, unpause that. Then we're going to, there's a dial button which says make an originate action between SIP extension 1000 to extension 10. Extension 10 is the queue. In context from external, from internal. Priority is 1. Do it asynchronously and give it a caller ID. Then we've got a logout. Logout is just queue remove. If you're interested into why we're not using the agent channel within Asterisk, come and talk to me afterwards. We had real issues with it. So this is pretty much how we do our stuff at Holiday Extras. We log them into queues as extensions. And then at the bottom there you can see it's then calling now.send data to Asterisk with the object that I've just made. So it's just a JavaScript object. And then e.prevent default is just saying, right, stop here, don't do the default. So if we go back and do move over to, let's check out advanced web page. Just run node server again. It's doing exactly the same thing as you'd expect. So again, let's refresh this, and now you can see the buttons that I've added in. So we've got help, reload, etc., etc. So let's make this a little bit bigger. So I press help, that goes off to the AMI, and comes back with this JavaScript object, which gets stringified for use on the web page. So we got a response, a success response. We got an action ID. The module automatically assigns a action ID if you didn't give it one, and then it tells you all of the things that you'd expect to come from. If you did a manager show commands on the CLI, it would give you exactly the same thing. So you can see, and then you can see that a wait event needs certain privileges as well. So they're all of the events that you can all the commands that you can call. Then I'm going to reload. So you can see I reloaded, and here are all of the events that came back. So you can see var set. So when Asterisk reloads, it resets a load of variables, and then it tells you, it gives you an event of channel reload to say, yep, we've reloaded SIP, because that's the only thing that's actually being used at the moment. So this is the interesting bit, where I'm probably going to fail. We'll see. So we're going to log extension 2000. So here's extension 2000, and here's extension 1000. Neither of which are complaining, so hopefully this is going to work. So log extension 2000 into Q10 in pause state. So you can see at the top there, we then got a queue member added event that came back. You need an agent or all privilege against the AMI user that you're currently using. And then we're saying log them into Q10. Here's the location, SIP2000. The member name is SIP2000, and the membership is dynamic. So this is all information that's come back from Asterisk. Calls taken 0, obviously, because they haven't taken any calls yet. But they're in a pause state, so let's unpause them. So we've got back an interface unpaused successfully, and then we've got another so we've got a queue member paused event this time, with here's the queue, here's the extension, and they're not in a pause state anymore. So this is the bit that hopefully won't go wrong. Dial Q10 from extension 1000. So we've got extension 2000 in this queue. Hopefully this is going to generate a call using originate to generate a call into that queue. So in a call center environment, you'd have like auto answer turned on, but in this one we don't. So I'm expecting, yep. So I've got a call. So I've accepted that, and I'm now in that queue. I'm waiting in that queue. but I should have got something else. What haven't I done? So I should have got a call on this. Let's close down. All active calls will be disconnected. Oh, so I'm hearing Alison talk to me. So let's try that again. So this time you can see I've got a call waiting. So I'm getting lots of feedback, but you can see that decline that one. So you can see that there's a call between my telephone app here and Bria going on at the same time, and that was all caused by the AMI. In real life examples, you wouldn't quite do this, and there'd be extensions on 2 different machines. I wanted to use my phone and give someone my phone, but the VM that I'm running won't allow you to do that. So, but you can see there's a call, and if I close down that call, then that one ends as well. So that was a live call, and while that was going on, you could see everything that was happening on Asterisk. So you could see an RTCP received event, an RTCP sent. These are probably the 2 most common events that you're going to get. If you don't care about them, turn them off in your manager.conf. They add so much load to your AMI connection. If you don't care about them, turn them off. Most people don't care about them. And then that's pretty much it. So when we can log out of that extension of that queue. So you can see extensions 2000 has now been logged out of queue 10, queue member removed, and that's that. If we go back to here, and that's it. So has anyone got any questions? Yeah? Do you want to?
Your server was running for 90 some days. You were talking about your server was running for 90 some days freestanding.
Yeah.
How long have you heard of Node.js running a web server talking to AMI successfully?
I haven't actually heard of anyone else. I've seen a few modules out there that talk to the AMI via Node. Mine's probably one of the most open. Allows you more control over the events that you get and the events you can send back. But I've not actually heard of anyone using these modules. But I can show you. I can show you some stats in a minute. But because Node takes care of it is running on V8, Google's V8 engine. Node kind of just deals with memory for you and everything else. So if we didn't have that network issue 95 days ago, then that Node server could have been running 125. You could leave it running all year round and you wouldn't have any issues. It's just other things that impact it, like a network outage.
Thanks for the great talk. What do you actually use this for in production on a day-to-day basis?
So we've got our custom CRM system for our call center. Allows them to navigate our websites and to deal with customer issues. So at the beginning, we used the agent proxy channel in Asterisk. And when you log into the agent channel, that's it. That's your information gone. You don't know about the call. The call just gets delivered to you. So we were originally using it because we were using the agent channel. And no information about the call was delivered to the user. So we used it to give that data to our call center. It also allows them to go on wrap paused with a reason. We're now no longer using the agent channel because it caused us a lot of issues. So we're now delivering calls directly to an extension, and that extension auto answers the call, etc. Yep.
So I kind of came in midway, but if I understand correctly, your browsers are connecting to AMI directly, so all your browser instances would have direct connections to AMI?
No, so you've got your one Node.js server, and that's connected to the AMI. And then your browsers are connected to your Node.js server. We've got about 6 AMI connections open at any one time in our production instance because of the amount of data that's coming through the AMI. If you had a call coming in, you need that agent to know about that call straight away. And when we only had one open, there was like a little bit of a delay. So we've got about 6 connections open via this Node.js server. But your browsers don't connect directly.
Okay, and then a follow-up question is, have you guys looked at any sort of pub/sub capabilities with Node.js?
How do you mean?
Well, I'm just kind of getting new into this kind of whole Node.js JavaScript, but I've seen some projects that will use a publishing server, pub/sub, for the actual AMI events, and then they're using kind of, I guess, a native client within Node.js to subscribe to those events?
No, I haven't seen anything like that personally, because to subscribe to events, it is as simple as, here's my object that's going to emit this event, and then you say, on this event, do this. It's really simple, so I wouldn't see the point in something like that.
James Bodie has.
Well, it's not really a question, Dan. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
You'll be pleased to know that we're running a little competition here at Astricon for the riskiest live demo. And so far, you're winning.
Great.
But probably not for very long, because Tim Panton and Josh Culp are coming on this afternoon. And knowing Tim, he's always extremely risky. But at the moment, you're in the lead.
Great. I thought it was going to go wrong.
Any other questions?
No? So, just for me to say thank you, really. This is my first Astricon. I can blame David for that. He invited me. But if you need to get in contact with me, I'm on Twitter, Dan_Jenkins. There's my email address. Have a read of our tech blog at Holiday Extras, Hungry Geek. And then there are those 2 links for the Asterisk AMI module. All the code that I used is on my GitHub. So github.com/Dan Jenkins